Welcome back to Kind of Funny's The Mandalorian in review. That's right. We are reviewing every episode of The Mandalorian. I'm Tim Gettys. This is Andy Cortez. That's Kevin Coelho. We got Greg Miller. Very festive, very Christmas. And we got Nick Scarpino.
Such is what we do.
Such is the way.
Such is our thing.
This is our code, and so shall it stand.
So shall it
We wrote
stand.
this down, and now we're doing it.
For 100 years may they stand.
Ladies and gentlemen, this show happens live every time a new episode of The Mandalorian comes out. So today it's a Wednesday. Next week it will be a Friday. But in between that, we will be reviewing Rise of Skywalker, Episode 9, this Friday. YouTube.com/kindafunny. Roosterteeth.com. Twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. Podcast services, all the different things. You can go to Patreon.com/kindafunny to get this show ad-free or be a Patreon producer like our boy, Al Tribesman.
Tim, Nick has a question.
What's
Tim,
up?
is it hard doing an intro when all of us over here are saying, do it, do it, do it, do it?
No,
You're a professional, man.
There's just certain things.
That would've thrown me
They're
off.
just keywords, Patreon, Rooster
Yeah,
Teeth. You just got to
gotcha.
kind of say them in some sequence,
Capacity.
and then you'll be fine.
I was
Sure.
wondering what his answer was, but I knew it.
Because he
Dude.
did it.
Good job, Nick.
Oh, that gets a laugh. Okay.
It's original, man.
Oh, man, Al Tribesman, we love you.
Subverted your
You're great. You're doing some
Exactly.
stuff. Today we're talking about Chapter 7, The Reckoning. Released on December 18, 2019, directed by Deborah Chow. She's also the person that did Episode 3, which is
Yeah.
most people's favorite episode of the show so far.
Which one was that?
It was the one with all the action, with all the different Mandos.
At the
Thank
end.
you.
At the
Fine.
end.
together.
Sure, and he like flies away.
Yeah.
I got to give him one of those.
Kind of the last
War
episode
Machine moment.
of like main story plot
Gotcha.
going on. So this kind of picks up, makes sense. She's coming back.
She's also running the Obi-Wan show.
Oh.
That makes me very excited
Me
because
too.
this episode was, I think, far and away one of the best episodes of the whole series.
I agree.
Yeah.
And for a number of reasons, not the least of which was like I just feel like the acting was overall better in this, and even from Gina Carano.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, you're holding the scenes, good on you. But also we're back to the main story, and it's absolutely like the most interesting part of everything that's happening. My criticisms in the past of these being like one-off episodes don't exist here because we got back to the story. We're back to where it all started. We finally see the big bad guy come in and Giancarlo Esposito, and he's
Gus
awesome.
Fring.
And like, yeah, let's go. The sad thing is, I wish we'd have gotten this episode 4.
Before we get into all that, this is written by Jon Favreau once again, a runtime of 40 minutes. Next week's finale, directed by Taika Waititi.
Oh.
Good.
That should be
You
fun.
know what I'm talking about? Star Wars.
I do.
But like to me, doesn't it kind of feel like this? We need like 3 or 4 more episodes now that we're on this track. Like I want to see this story progress in like a little bit longer of a form now that we're in here. Now that we've got this big bad guy, we don't know what his motives are, and we only get one episode.
Welcome to
kind
season 2, Nick.
Yeah. I kind of like that this felt like a very good part 1 of a very clear 2-parter going into the season finale, where I'm just like, and we know we're getting season 2. And it's like, if we didn't and it was just supposed to be its own story, I agree that I would want it to be more. I kind of like where we're at, and I like that now that we've seen all the kind of like filler episodes of the last couple kind of have the payoff of the group coming together with this. I'm like, cool. I like it a little bit more as a whole. I feel like it gives them a little bit more meaning. Like him going back to the one planet with the blue creeks and all that shit, and not seeing the woman that he kind of had a moment with, but instead just going straight to Gina Carano and like just being about business. Like I like that. Like I feel like that's cool type of Star Wars character storytelling that we're starting to finally see come to fruition.
I don't mind the
Called it.
I don't mind the slower episodes as long as they are made well. I just never thought that the slower episodes were made that well. But this, I got a message on Instagram that was like, "Oh, the new Mando's out. Did you see that one? Oh, wait, you hate that show, right?" No, I don't hate the
Gotcha.
show. I don't like the bad episodes, and there are a decent amount of not good episodes in this show. But the ones that I've enjoyed, I think this one is up at the top. So was the last episode. I enjoyed the first 3 quite a bit. I just think that if we keep getting this sort of quality, this is exactly what I want out of this show. I love the cliffhangers, man. Like I'm a sucker for that shit in TV shows. So.
See, I'm a little less forgiving than you. This is the bare minimum of quality that I want out of the episodes of this show. Everything that falls underneath this mark just registers as bad in my book. And this, to me, I'm like, if Deborah Chow is the person that can tell these episodes, like let her somehow have more power in this whole thing. because she knows how to direct an episode. This episode didn't at any point feel cheesy. It felt like I liked the getting the gang together, the Western style, like we're riding back into town to with the posse to like kill the bad guy. And I liked that they got outsmarted. I like that it was the best laid plans. And even Mando kind of saw it coming. And like everyone was getting, there's like the double, everyone's getting
triple cross.
Yeah, triple cross. And I was like, okay, I'm in for that because that's what this world would be. And I think they did it in a way that was like, this is gratifying to me. And then at the very, very end of it, boom, man, they lose. That's great. This is a perfect, you're right, it's a perfect two-parter, but I would have preferred this two-parter to be like up front because I feel like this season's going to finish out and it's only going to be relevant with season 2, and that's not to me how traditionally you're supposed to do a first season of television. Like if this ends on a cliffhanger, I'm fine with that. But if it ends on a cliffhanger where it's midway through the main plot of season 1, I'm like, why would you do this?
See, I think that the plot of the season is just super cut and dry of what it is. And it's just like, I think that we are going to get every question that's really been posed that needs to be answered, I think will be answered in the next episode. Nothing more. Then they'll just ask more questions to be answered in season 2. But really, when you start to think about it, like even the good episodes of the show, it's like, all right, they're bad people that do bad things. There's a lot of double crossing. Don't trust anybody. Like that's really all that it is. And it's just especially with the episodes in between the season where they go to different planets and have the different things going on. When you look at each episode, it's like they go to a place, there's a thing they deal with, they leave, and we could have never seen those characters again, and it wouldn't have mattered. Or we could see them again, and it wouldn't matter. It's like it's kind of just this weird thing where it's like, what matters in the show? Mandalorian, Baby Yoda. That's all the really questions that we have right now, and I feel like we're gonna have more questions posed next episode for next season, and I like that.
I think we have questions on like what's the deal with Baby Yoda, and those won't get answered. I think that like they're gonna take him, and it's gonna be like I could see the season ending with like them barely getting away, and it's like, oh, now we have to save Baby Yoda, and like that's where it ends. And I just kind of wish that we had a little bit more answers for that, or it's just like I want to know what's happening with Baby Yoda. I want to be invested in this, and I don't think that like just taking him away and being like, oh, you guys have to go save him is like the investment that I like want. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm sure the next episode will start with them in captivity and Esposito explaining exactly why this thing is important and why he wants it so badly. They'll have like a monologue point where the bad guy monologues for a second. He's like, "You don't understand the power of this thing, and it's the Force, and yada yada yada." I'm sure we'll get some explanation for it. Whether or not that'll be gratifying is here or there. Like you say, all the questions get answered. There's not that many questions.
That's
in the
my
series.
point.
It's
Yeah.
just the one. What is Baby Yoda, and why is it important? I guess 2 questions. Boom. There you go. And they'll probably answer that the next episode.
Well, the answer to number 2 is that he has the Force, right?
What's that?
The answer to number 2 is just he has the Force.
Well, what do they want to do?
The
But what do they want to do with the Force, right? Like historically, we haven't
He's
seen.
fucking choking people. They want him on the dark side. Let's go. You want to be the new emperor? Goo goo gaga.
CTE. No, but I mean,
CTE.
but it's an interesting question, right? And that's why when I say I'm disappointed that this didn't get posed earlier, it's because I want to know. We've never really seen Star Wars where there's people who don't use the Force wanting to use that power for themselves. Do you see what, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like traditionally it's always been like good guys and bad guys. Like Jedi or Sith are always the ones that are controlling the Force and everyone else just feels like pawns. This is the first time you've really seen someone who's like, I'm not a Force user, but I realize the power of this thing. I want to try to corrupt it and utilize it to like maybe rebuild the Empire or something like that. I don't know what they're going to do with it. It is a fascinating question though.
And that's the stuff I like. It's like I like that I'm asking like, why are there so many stormtroopers? Like I understand that like it's over, and I understand that like sure there might be deserters who or not deserters, but just people that are like making their own factions that still believe in it. But I'm like, who's their leader? Like, what's going on? Are there just random factions all over the galaxy that like kind of are running through their own beliefs and stuff? That's really cool. But I like that those are the type of questions that we don't need to be answered. It's kind of just that is just the kind of that Nick Frank calls it the smell of the show, where you're just kind of it's the atmosphere. It's just the like
never say that again. That's
why
just dirty.
I hate you so much.
No, I appreciate what we're talking about. But I mean, again, there have been stories like the Timothy Zahn books, right, where they talked about like Grand Admiral Thrawn and all these things of like these offshoots of the Empire, these generals that were like, the Emperor's dead, but we still have ships and we still have resources. What do we do with that? How do we rebuild in the shadows and then come back as something like the First Order? Is always fascinating, and it's like, and it's not something that I mean, as it can feel derivative, but if done right, it can be really really cool and sinister. And so like maybe that's what Esposito's doing in this. Like maybe he's like they called him a Moff, right? Mm-hmm. So he is. That's like a admiral or a vice admiral, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was Grand Moff Tarkin,
Yeah,
right?
So like he is clearly a leader of some faction of the Empire, and the fact that he showed up with pristinely costumed stormtroopers is pretty indicative.
What do we call
of
the black
Death Troopers.
stormtroopers? Death Troopers.
Death
Okay.
Troopers. So he showed up with Death Troopers, but then as the ships landed, you saw brand new stormtroopers come out.
Yeah.
Which, do you think on some level the ones that were on the planet are like, well, fuck us? You know what I mean? Like, why do we have to be dirty all the time? Why?
Well, that's my thing. Is like,
Clean your
I-
shit, man.
I don't think they are storm. I think they're
Yeah.
just. I think they're just people wearing the armor. You know.
Oh, I didn't read
Well, I
that.
think
read
I
that
think
they're
they're different
stormtroopers.
factions of stormtroopers.
Yeah.
though. Like they were at one point all Imperial, but now the ones that were with Esposito, I think, are different than the ones that were with
Herzog.
Herzog. Yeah.
Yeah.
and the TIE fighter with the transforming.
Oh
like,
my God,
exactly.
so sick.
Hell
I thought
yeah.
for a second,
Visuals
though,
look
because there's a
great
little
there.
hole in its butt, I thought he was going to come out of the hole in its butt.
Well, I liked, the Gus got out of the top of it, and I was like, how's he gonna get down? The next shot, he was down. I'm like, you motherfuckers.
You motherfuckers.
You got me. I think this episode started off in a cool way with, we're being reintroduced to all these characters that I had gotten to this point in the show, and I'm thinking, like, were those just? Are we ever gonna see those people again?
Called it.
Were they just useless this whole time? And as far as we know, curly-haired woman, kind of useless.
Which one?
Amy Sedaris?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, right. And then Shroud with the earring, useless, right? That episode can just be completely written off.
I mean, it ends with some type of cliffhanger that's going to come back.
Sure, yeah. And but the thing I've noticed is like when this episode is starting, they show you the recap, and I feel like most of the recaps have only included the first couple of episodes. It's almost as if they realize these
Those are
middle
fillers,
episodes
yeah.
don't have a lot going on in them because the meat of the story is kind of in the beginning where we see Werner Herzog and we see what's his face,
Carl
Carl
Weathers.
Weathers, yeah.
Mando.
You're a legend, Mando. I was really happy being reintroduced to these characters because I just didn't think I thought it was gonna be all for naught, And we see little alien man with the
Ugnaught or whatever his name. No.
Nick
I don't remember his
Nolte.
name.
Nick Nolte.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just call them by their characters' name.
call him Nick Nolte.
You just blew my mind, by the way, that I didn't realize that actress was Amy Sedaris in
Yeah.
that episode,
Oh, yeah.
and I feel bad for harping on how bad of an actor she is because she's actually a pretty phenomenal. She's in BoJack Horseman.
It was just the character was horrible.
That character was terrible, yeah. But
Strangers
I'm eating my
with
words
Amy.
right now, Amy. If you're watching this, I apologize. You are a phenomenal actor. Keep going.
No, you can't
Keep
take it
going.
back,
Yeah,
bro.
no.
No backsies?
It's too late.
No
bro.
backsies.
Definitely not.
Yeah,
She's gonna come on the
no
show.
take backsies.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Dude, Baby Yoda straight up force choking. That's another just interesting premise where I'm like, there's this thing with this power and it doesn't know how to control it. It's just instinct. It's not dark side, light side. It's, hey, he's my friend. Stay off of him.
Yeah.
About to choke her to death with his little hands.
So cute.
It's like when you see those videos of somebody fighting the owner of a dog and the dog gets pissed off.
Yeah.
It was exactly like that. It was adorable, but
No, can we?
I kind of disagree with your assessment of Gina Carano. I thought she was still pretty bad in this.
Okay, she was just
You saw a little
surrounded
bit
by
of
other
improvement.
characters. They elevated her.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I think that was good. And I thought that
That's fair.
I think some of the action she did at the beginning was fun. With the belt tying and Sharon and her. Whenever she gets to actually beat someone's ass, she's
was
at
a
her
cool
best
concept.
because she's a fighter and she moves like a fighter. Which
We've
is
never
great.
seen that before, right?
No.
Two
New
people
game.
being
Like tethered together.
tied by this
together.
laser. I thought that was really interesting.
Not in this series.
What do you mean?
Don't worry. Don't ask. Just
Don't
keep
even
moving.
worry
Keep
about
moving.
that.
I didn't like how she was recruited and they had that moment of like, well, I won't do it, and he's like, well, they're stormtroopers. I mean, it's like,
No, I
all right.
like that.
That is
I wish
fair.
they had
Fuck
done
the
that. Like, and
Empire.
I think that's her acting that I didn't like, but
Oh.
it just like, yeah.
I'm okay with that, but that just is kind of indicative of how the decisions get made in this. Where, like, if you had a little bit more time, like, for instance, if this had been this story, the main story had developed over a couple more episodes, you could have had those moments of great character development where she said, no, I don't want to do it. And then you have a couple more story beats. And then she realizes something that's happening in the B plot that inspires her to go on the mission.
Or not-
Whereas in this one, every single time in the scene, he goes, Tim, I want you to do something. And Tim goes, I don't want to do that. And then I go, but there's cookies. And Tim goes, I'm in. And that is just kind of lazy story.
Yeah, it would have been cooler if there had
been.
been some sort of consequences to him coming back. Like suddenly there's stormtroopers there trying to find him because they're tracking him, and Gina Carano realizes, oh shit, they're on my tail too. so I have no choice but to
kill
you.
you.
know,
Well, just something more
Yeah.
than me just, hey, let me throw a quick throwaway line at you and you just getting on the mission because we need you to get on the mission because that's how we wrote this episode. And like,
Nah,
it's
that's all I needed, man. I think we've seen.
that's so
I think
little,
we've
you
seen
know?
that in so many other movies that are better in quality, so we choose to ignore those decisions. I think because maybe we're a little bit harder on this show and it's not quite what we wanted, that we're a little bit more nitpicky about small stuff that we would easily pass by.
well for the
in
for
other
the,
things.
for the Gina Carano character, I don't mind it, right? Because she's kind of a throwaway character, but it was
Hold
a
on,
little
real quick
egregious
before you
when we
move. Before you move, wasn't the point of meeting her in an ancillary episode that was off the main plot to get the fact that she was a resistance fighter and she did hate the Empire and she had a grudge, so that when we get there, so there's this one decision, it's not in a vacuum of, hey, person, I don't know, come with me. No, but we're gonna fight people. Oh, okay. Like, I knew her backstory enough that I knew she hates these fuckers.
But it starts to feel a little thin when I go, hey, I want you to come on a mission with me. And you're like, no, I've been running. Basically, I'm done with that. I'm running away from that forever. And I go, by the way, if you go on this mission with me, you might die. You're probably going to die. It's a suicide mission. And you go, no, thanks. And then I go, but there's people you hate there. And you go, okay. And like it feels okay. It's passable with Gina Carano's character, but where it's a little bit harder is with Nick Nolte's character. That seems to be a little bit more like he's
out.
Zen monk about it. And you go, and then the only decision is like, I need you to come on this to help protect the kid. And it's like, well, then leave the fucking kid with me. Like, I don't understand why you keep taking this kid to the fucking planet where all the bad guys are. Like, they keep saying things like, this is the only way to do it. I'm like, it's not the only way to do it. Take the ship and fly it way the fuck out.
But
wait for a message.
Carl Weathers wouldn't have moved on with the plan, right, if he didn't have the kid. He needs the kid. Like, Mando knows that he has to show up with the kid, otherwise this is not going to go anywhere.
But then at the end he goes, well, we don't need the kid. We'll just go in and it'll be just me. And that'll be
and
fine.
empty carriage.
But at that point, hasn't he already rehashed a new plan with Carl Weathers? Carl Weathers is on his side. He's going to get you inside to kill the actual guy you need.
Sure.
They were gonna kill until Baby Yoda heals his leg. They were gonna kill. They're gonna kill him.
But,
right?
Dude, the scene where he got attacked came out of fucking nowhere.
Came out of
I was just
nowhere.
like,
That was awesome.
so
though,
long.
right?
I was like, really?
Whatever. It's going to be so easy.
They got randomly attacked by dragons.
I loved it because it was just like, I love that they were picking people off where it's like, I really felt like anyone could have been taken away for that moment. Like,
was
I
like the
didn't know what
raptor
was
scene
going
in
on.
Hospital.
Yeah, it was cool. I thought that was unexpected, and we haven't seen something like that. And like, because of how dark it was, like, and I liked how dark it was, like, it was actually kind of scary.
Oh, I was like, what the fuck is happening? What are these things?
I
It's a
couldn't
good
believe
thing there was
they weren't
just
hitting
two
more
of them. Yeah.
And
yeah.
yeah,
It was
they're gigantic.
And like nobody's getting hit up there. I'm like, they're huge.
Gina
Gina
Carano's
Carano's
gun
got a
sounded awesome.
fucking minigun.
The gun was.
She's
really
got the
cool.
minigun from Predator, and she can't hit something the size of a bus that's floating 15 feet above her.
Strong, man.
Whatever.
Strong dragons.
That's fine. I mean, look at all this stuff is fine, but like, it keeps coming back to me of like, why are any of these characters doing any of these things? Why, if you know the guy's already double crossed you, would you come anywhere close to trusting him?
Mm-hmm.
And why would you just like? I was thinking, okay, the Mandalorian's he's smart. He's gonna know that Carl Weathers. I mean, I fucking know as an audience member that Carl Weathers is going to double cross him because we already know he's done it once.
But I mean, they did, right? That's
Yeah.
why he brought Gina Carano's character.
But then they let him get the beat on him. They got two guys behind him the entire time. Like, I'm just.
Also, I don't understand why. Like, if Carl Weathers changed his mind, why didn't he just tell the other guys, like, "Hey, I've changed my mind"?
No, you get
We're
up
gonna
You
and
go
go
against
against
the
the
guild.
guild.
Yeah.
You'd break the guild code. You'd lose sight of it all.
But he
that's
murdered
such
two of
the
his
way.
own guys.
But
I think
that's
that breaks
their-
But they
the
don't.
that's
code
But a
responsible.
dead man tells no tales.
Exactly.
Shit,
Yo
man.
ho,
That's
ho,
all you have.
bottle
guild
of-
laws. If you kill someone, everything's absolved.
But they do have that conversation in the elevator that I think, kind of mildly explains it away. Of, do you trust this guy? No, not really.
I thought he knew. They
That's
knew
enough
they
for
were
me.
up for a double cross.
Yeah.
I thought that Deborah Chow did a great job with the directing, especially of the scene with IG-11, of like kind of reformatting him and the whole kind of conversation about droids and like they reflect the odors.
There are
and all
no
that
good,
shit.
there is no
and
bad.
like the montage of him like learning
Putting
how to
it together.
like be a good guy. It's like I really enjoyed that, and it's just like it felt authentic to me.
Do you
Like,
believe him?
I mean, at some point he's gonna have to turn, right?
I think so.
I think only he's going to turn because they kept on harping on it. I
Yeah.
had such an issue with
Well,
that.
yeah,
Like,
that thing where he walks in the room and Gia Carano looks at him like all awkwardly, and they do like the cutaways back and forth to their eyes. I'm like, what?
Well, they talked enough about to Nick Nolte. I don't trust him. It's a robot. Blah 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 blah. And that went on for a while. And then more TV show happens. And then again, do you trust him? Like, no, I don't trust that robot. Okay, we get it. Something's
You
gonna
don't
happen
like
soon.
droids.
But
Well, it
maybe,
just also
maybe it's going to be like Aliens, where Ripley's like, I don't like this.
She doesn't like Bishop.
I hate
She doesn't
Bishop.
like Bishop.
And then at the end, Bishop saves her ass. And
You know
gets
that's what's
torn
gonna
apart
happen.
and fucking barfs milk all over everything.
That's
There's
my
a
thing is,
reason
like,
the hero shot is the three of them. Like it's because they're gonna.
Yeah.
He's gonna come back and save the day.
Yeah.
For sure.
and I love that though because like she did such a great job with the action in episode 3. Like it seems like they're building towards some action next episode, and I can't wait to see what that looks like with IG-11 fucking doing more of the weird tin can shit.
Damn, I wish Bill Burr was a good guy.
Well, that's the
Maybe
thing
he's
is he
along for the
coming?
ride.
Are they coming back next episode or are they coming back next season?
I feel like next season.
Me too, which
Yeah.
I'm cool with.
And I feel like they're gonna come back next season as bad guys again, and then somehow have a redemption arc where they join his team or team up with him. But I don't see them being like main characters. I don't know. Maybe Bill Burr. But
With-
the rest
with-
of
What
them,
was the
I don't know.
point of them watching the video last episode then, if they weren't going to come back sooner in this plot line? You think? Because remember, they made a big deal that when the guy was
that
up
was
there,
a different
like,
video,
we're-
right?
Didn't the guy die? They watched the video.
I
Yeah.
I
It was a
legitimately
droid.
don't understand.
Yeah.
But
It
did
was
he
the
not,
droid.
did he
The
not have a
bug
chance to tell
droid.
anybody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that if IG-11 has a like flip and turns bad, I think that like that's such a wasted thing.
I think
like,
he's gonna be
it
a
would've
good
been-
guy.
I think he's gonna be a good
Yeah.
guy too. I'm just saying if he had like if there was gonna be a moment where he turns bad, that moment I think passed. Like it would have been cooler if Keel or whatever
Oh, yeah,
got
Quill.
on the got to the ship, closed it, and was safe from the speeders.
yeah, that'd be
and
cool.
that's when IG-11 reveals, no, boom.
Yeah. I don't think he's gonna turn bad. I think
Yeah.
it's just not gonna be a docile like.
No,
T
no,
server.
no. He's gonna be a killing machine.
Yeah.
I'll say just
it's in the programming.
To go back to Deborah Chow and her, I think she's a great director, and I think that beat at the end where he's calling out to him and he's like, "Did you get it back to the ship? Did you get it back to
Really
the ship?"
well done.
And you see the speeder bike pick up Baby Yoda,
Yeah.
and then as the camera keeps panning, you see him just dead on the floor. That was a really well done.
It didn't
Also,
hit-
we got to see
moment.
Scout Trooper helmets again, so that's always fucking
That's pretty
dope.
awesome.
Yeah, that moment didn't hit me immediately. Right, it didn't connect in my brain when I see
If
Baby.
he's just sleeping.
Oh.
When I see Baby on the ground, my immediate thought is it a dummy or something? Did he just like? Are they tricking it? And, oh no!
I was super like,
and
no!
then they eventually
Back.
pan over,
Quill.
and then we get the really sort of unsettling.
Music cue.
Puppet head, mouth open looking thing. It reminded me of when the bighorn is dead on the ground as well, where it's just like it's
jaws
really
all
ugly
slack,
looking.
yeah.
It's like
The final death
McNulty,
throes.
Fuck.
Yeah,
Put
it
a
was
cover
sad.
over your head if you're
gotcha,
gonna die.
Yeah, I loved the end though. With the first time we get the Mandalorian theme, but it's like somber and different. It's not the like bombastic
Wow.
version. I was like, oh, this is
There's
Like
a
in the NFL when someone gets hurt.
There's a part as well in when they're doing the montage where I thought it was a good comedic beat. I made a note to shout it out where he's trying to pour the slop for the big ass animal and it pours onto the ground and the animal's like, oh. He's like, what the fuck?
before. Actually, no,
Sorry.
no, it's cool. It's totally cool. Yeah.
Why?
Don't worry about it.
Oh.
Tough guy. All right.
All right. All right.
Instead, sing me the Mandalorian song.
Sing me a Mandalorian.
Sing me
Where are
a
you going?
Mandalorian.
This episode of Mandalorian in Review is brought to you by Manscaped. Let's see. They are the best in men's below-the-belt grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Jingle balls to the walls, fellas. Listen up. Untrimmed pubes are a thing of the past. It's time to gear up and get yourself the gift of shaving this holiday season. I'm talking about your balls. The Manscaped Perfect Package 2.0. It's time to shave, baby. The Lawnmower 2.0 comes inside the Perfect Package 2.0, which makes for the perfect gift this holiday season. It's literally everything you need to keep trimmed, cut-free, and smelling nice down there. The Manscaped Perfect Package 2.0 also includes the Crop Preserver, an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer. If you've ever chafed down there, you're not going to want to do it again. You learned your lesson once, Greg Miller.
Chafe me once, shame on you. Chafe me twice, go to manscaped.com.
2.0, baby. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code MORNING at manscaped.com. Your balls will thank you. That's 20% off with free shipping with the code MORNING at manscaped.com. Clean up your nuts and make Santa proud this year. That's what they wrote.
They sure did, Tim.
Also, shout out to Upstart. As most of us have found out the hard way, getting into debt is easy. Getting out is hard, especially if your credit score isn't great. Thankfully now, there's Upstart.com, the revolutionary lending platform that knows that you are more than just your credit score. They offer smarter interest rates to help you pay off high-interest credit card debt. Isn't that right, Greg Miller?
That's correct. When I moved here, of course, I got a loan because I needed it back in the day, and I got a terrible interest rate because they didn't take into account anything.
They don't.
That's
know
what
you.
it's doing. It's slapping.
Upstart goes beyond.
That's what it's doing. It's slapping.
Upstart goes beyond the traditional credit score when assessing your credit worthiness. They actually reward you based on your education and job history in the form of a smarter interest rate. They would have loved you, Craig.
They would have
believed in you.
They would have looked at my whole thing.
They make it fast, simple, and easy to check your rate in just a few minutes. And the best part, once the loan's approved and accepted, most people get their funds the very next business day. The next day, Kevin. Wow. Free yourself from the burden of high-interest credit card debt by consolidating everything into one monthly payment with Upstart. See why Upstart's ranked #1 in their category with over 300 businesses on Trustpilot. And hurry to upstart.com/morning to find out how low your Upstart rate is. Checking your rate only takes a few minutes and won't affect your credit. That's upstart.com/morning. Back to the show.
Visuals are great.
Yeah. What's that?
I thought the visuals were great.
Yeah, this episode looked great.
I think because of the sort of familiar environment and whatever that environment is, I guess that biome, this planet that they're on, it's a lot more convincing using their screen technology that's behind them. Not a green screen, just like digital, whatever the hell. That environment is really convincing, and I thought the TIE fighters looked phenomenal.
So good.
I thought it looked really good.
Quick question: the Werner Herzog character,
Yes.
Burn hot dog.
He does he get killed by Mando or
No, he gets killed by the other guy.
The Death Troopers on the
Giancarlo
outside?
Esposito, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Orders his death. Because he's like, really? That's interesting. Check again. Which you're like, I don't understand why you would do that. Because
It's
that's
always
like,
a bigger fish.
yeah.
Yeah, but like,
But I mean, like
they were clearly working together, right?
But were they? Like I mean, it's unclear. But if they're separate factions and Carlo Esposito's faction is bigger,
Giancarlo.
yeah, Giancarlo.
There's a possibility that they think that maybe there's a level of distrust here. You know, obviously don't
'Cause he
trust
iced all
everybody.
those stormtroopers
We can
in there
get
too.
double crossed at any moment, and then they say, "Hey, where's the baby?"
That's kind of how I read it.
And
Was
it's
I was like, this guy.
the baby's here. Are you sure about that, bro? You
Either
fucking
that
with me.
or this guy has failed him for the last time. Because clearly this has been, what, at least weeks at this point where they've been
7
looking
weeks.
for this thing, and this guy is just, Werner Herzog is just dropping the ball every single time. So I feel like it was just like, clean house, get the thing you want to get, and like, I thought it was great.
Is he dropping the ball? I feel like he hired the best bounty hunter and all of the other ones to get this thing, and it was just because for no reason at all, Mando kind of fell in love with this little thing.
Yeah, but at
The
same
Empire
time, like,
expects results. The Empire expects Baby Yoda. All right, so if you can't fucking deliver Baby Yoda to Gus, you're useless to
Go
him.
to hell.
But also, like, if
In a
the thing
handbasket.
you really want more than anything else in the fucking known galaxy is sitting there, but it's in an enclosed case,
Check the fucking case.
open the fucking case.
It's sleeping. He was
If you
about to.
don't,
It's sleeping.
He was about to,
You
and then he was
rude
like, I
asshole.
need to take a call.
It's sleeping right now. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
No, he was like, I'm gonna open that fucking thing. But no, I thought that last part. Honestly, to be fair, I feel like they carved out more budget for this episode because I feel like the main story episodes have more budget and some of the more like.
That makes sense.
And that's fine. I mean, that's kind of how you do it in TV, where if you got a couple other, you have to have a few episodes that are like slightly cheaper that you can throw. Like, let's just go out and shoot in like a forest area. Okay, cool.
I
That's the
still
one.
think that the biggest problem this show has is like the actors they pick aren't necessarily the best for the roles. Where it's like Andy, or what was her name?
Amy Sedaris.
Like, I did not like her portrayal of that character. It was just such a goofy.
That character, the direction of that character
yeah.
was bad.
Yeah.
But knowing who that actress is and having just watched 6 seasons of BoJack Horseman with
You
her,
hate her, though.
she's fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, you hate her.
She's really good. But I did not like her in that role, and I don't like that. I didn't like that character at all because it just felt very TV. It didn't feel like someone who, and not to harp on going back to an older episode, but it didn't feel like someone who lives on Tatooine, this desolate planet filled with fucking gangsters and like bounty hunters and all sorts of drugs. I mean, this is like a port town and a terrible part of like a third world country. And she's like, "Hey, I'm happy-go-lucky. What's going on? Welcome to my spaceport. I have some cool stickers and some merch if you want
You
to buy
buying
it."
something or you selling? Like she's like a total NPC.
Totally, yeah. But yeah, so I mean, that was the main critique there. But you put her in a comedic role that has like a lot of heart, like that. You take that character, you put it in BoJack Horseman, and she's phenomenal in it. So shout out to her, and sorry for harping on her earlier.
So looking back at the season, I'm trying to look at the directors. Chapter 2 was Rick Famuyiwa.
Famuyiwa.
Yeah, he did 2 and 6, and then Deborah did 3 and 7.
The best.
So they're
episode.
clearly the two best
yeah,
directors of this whole
definitely.
thing.
John Favreau
At least they got the best material.
hasn't done any of them. He's just show running and writing most of them. But then, so next week is going to be Taika's debut as a director on the show.
I like how they saved the best for last.
Hey, man.
It's interesting.
I'm hoping.
Taika, typically the tone of his movies are very comedic and fun, and it's like this seems like it's not gonna be an episode where that's the tone.
I think to me it's become more and more obvious after watching last night's episode that these beginning and maybe these last 2 episodes have always been in mind. Those are the core sort of things written down while Favreau was thinking up of what the story's going to be. And in the middle, I think they said, hey, if he just goes on adventures, kind of one-off little things, maybe people will still enjoy that, and it'll be cool to see Mando in a different environment, meeting different characters, and that's sort of where the Western adventure comes from. But I don't know. It doesn't excuse.
I feel like that would be way more forgivable had it been released in
binge.
Binge instead of weekly. And it's like having 2 weeks of like, I don't why is the story not moving forward is just so disorienting.
To me, I feel like this is a perfect example of why does this need to be 8 episodes?
Yep.
Why? Mm-hmm. This is the story they showed me last night. I'm like, I'm enticed. This is cool. He's in a bad place. He's got to use everything he's ever learned as a Mandalorian now to save this baby that we clearly care about. But like, this would have been so cool if it was a 4 to 6 episode arc where they just focused, like, a couple of those moments where we meet Gina Carano. But like, the problem is when we get too far away from that compelling story, it starts to just feel, to me at least, very, very thin and like filler. And I don't like that. Why? What is the point? You're gonna really tell me that this is a show that's meant to basically sell people on Disney Plus, and people are gonna care that it's 2 less episodes? I wouldn't care if they did what BBC does, where it's like this is a 4 episode run or even a 3 episode run with an hour and a half long each episode. I'm like, cool, I am totally in. Just tell a cool story. Like, there's nothing ever in the history of these like shows, these historic movies that get turned into shows, that has ever been gained by extra episodes. Like Daredevil, all of those Marvel shows, our biggest complaint was like, why do they have to do 8 episodes? Just don't do it. So I don't know. I'd love to see them look at this and go, cool, we're gonna go into season 2 and we're gonna combine them, not do 40 minutes. We're gonna do hour and a half long episodes, maybe just do 3 or 4. Done. Tell a cool story.
I hope this is just a great learning experience for the future of what these Star Wars TV shows can be, because I think these last 2 episodes have been awesome. I really enjoyed them. And
they were fun.
I think this one was probably my favorite one of all of them because it followed the more traditional. I don't know.
Well, it kept the story going.
It had a story.
It was more traditional in the TV show that I enjoy, where we get to the end of these bingeable TV shows that we always talk about, Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones, and it gets to a cliffhanger, and it's, wow, what's going to happen next?
Yeah.
I'm really excited for the future.
What will happen next? We'll have to find out next week for the season finale of The Mandalorian. Until then.
See you later.
We wrote it down.
Mando.
That's why we do it.
Mando.
You're a legend.